Hello, Collective. Wendy Joy, Love and Light. I wanted to share with you something that I've been noticing for quite some time, but really haven't said much about because my control over this situation I had to give up to the Almighty, to the Creator, to the Infinite One. And that part of my lesson that I can't control everything. Funny, when you're put as head of household or head of a situation and everybody looks at you or relies upon you to fix their issue, and then your message, your divine guidance is to let go of the reins of control and not run to everybody's rescue and help them the way they want to be helped, but help them the way you're guided to, which may not work well with the other parties because they may feel that you're holding back or you're punishing them or possibly even abusing them by making them do something on their own or figure out their own issue. And I've been trying very hard to be the observer and the watcher and only offering guidance when asked or when involved in a conversation that has everything to do with injustice, whether it be to one, to another, or to all the parties. And sometimes I voice my opinion and sometimes I don't. I feel the energy in the room and I recognize whether or not the center of attention, right, is going to receive it warmly or invitedly or even appreciate the guidance, even though they look toward you in order to fix their situation. So the way I've been handling it is just offering loving energy and continually setting great intentions and moving within the mannerism that I would like others to follow. And I'm not leading anyone to follow me. I'm just showing everybody that if you handle things with a different perception, if you do the hardest thing and release the burden of being in charge of everything, because if you come right down to it, it is burden. And what actually occurs is that you're taking the opportunities away from the others in order to learn how to navigate through their own life, to find solutions that benefit and not harm. And unfortunately, when you're going through this situation of discovery, we'll say, right? You tend to fall, you tend to bump your knees, and you definitely make mistakes. But the only way that you could learn what works and what doesn't, what's doable or viable, and what is harmful or stops you dead in your tracks, then you know how to migrate through those situations because you've already endured them. And whatever you may have tried either worked or didn't work. So there's always the pivoted perception and the higher understanding of looking above the situation to see if maybe you can offer yourself better guidance or maybe resonate with the energy that could be sent to you by either your spirit team or another energy on earth, right? Like maybe the person or the people that you look toward to solve, to fix, to handle, right? And you may not always get the desired outcome that you seek. That happens a lot when you give away your power and you look toward another in order to find solutions for you. They don't live in your skin. They don't really live in your environment. They don't feel the same things that you feel or generate the same sensations, we'll say. Because two people could live in the same dwelling, but still be far away from each other as far as the energy that they emit. In my situation, one of these aspects of letting go of control hits me kind of hard because where I stand today is watching how the youngest children, The youngest parties of our civilization are disrespectful for the most part. They're belligerent. They're demanding. They're entitled. They feel that they have more control over the situation than their parents. And this has happened quite a few times, very close to home. Unfortunately, because government really isn't there to help you, they're there to hurt you, to hinder you, and to feed you falsities, outright lies, covered up or concealed with the intent, so they think, of helping, right? But really, all they're helping is suppress and dominate and make the youngest children, their lives, a virtual hell. And when when vaccinations are tampered with and they're seeded with pure poison, and then, you as a parent will say, would like to protect your child from any of the harms of yesterday, right? You would believe that these vaccinations are going to help, that they're going to shield, that they're going to protect. And what they're actually doing is inviting more harm and more havoc and seeding the children's temple with so many poisons and toxins that it disrupts their own energy, their thought patterns, their ability to comprehend, to truly understand, the right to the left, to the wrong. What they're doing is they're allowing children to take more control over their life before they were ever legally allowed. Whether you want to consider that to be your morals, your morality, how you migrate through life, what is acceptable, what is downright inappropriate. And what they're doing is they're flipping the switch and allowing all the worst traits to not only come to the surface, but also to impact every move and every decision that they make. This has happened with my granddaughter, and this has happened with my grandson. And I fully know that there are outside influences that affected, that provided a different road, one that was painted as, if you throw your weight around, if you hold your breath, if you harm yourself, you'll get your way. They'll feel bad for you and they'll give in. But what does that provide in the long run? You've got kids that think that they could do whatever they want, and that nothing that they do is going to have any type of severe consequence. And if it does, they don't have to deal with it because the state says that, they can speak for themselves. My granddaughter was 15 years old, and, they said that she could talk for herself, that she could be emancipated. I'm like, are you kidding? The only people I ever knew that got emancipated was people that were in abusive families, or that they were abused and they seeded a child, and they chose to bring that child into life. The only other people that I know that are emancipated or had the ability to be emancipated, they were either a tragic accident occurred to their family unit and they had to step in and take care of the younger ones. But that really wasn't emancipated. That was, stepping up and taking on responsibility. So now they're telling my 7-year-old grandson that he doesn't have to be respectful. He doesn't have to listen. he could be belligerent, and he could be a bully. And his parents will get in trouble for that. He won't. And if they do decide that his behavior is too far out of control, and the state does come and step in and take him, then where do they put him and what happens to him? Then do they put him on pharmaceutical drugs and screw up the rest of him from the inside out, affecting his brain and his nerves and his ability to be productive? Because depending upon what drugs they decide that they want to give and what the strength of poison is, he could be a vegetable. But the government doesn't really care, because, they said that he's got every right to act the way he does, but if his parents try to discipline with a spanking, maybe, or grounding, or something of that effect, they say that the parent is wrong, that the parent is overstepping their boundaries. I've never lived in a world where a child could tell their parent what to do and get away with that. I've never lived in that world. Except this is the world that we live in today. And we could definitely say that a lot of people that were brought up with the same views and values as me, right? Where you do the best that you can, you strive to be, able and available and ready to receive knowledge and information and migrate, productively through life, and, all of these things that they all said, would do us all right. My children and the children around the same age, right? Their 30s, we'll say. They don't know how to react to the behavior that the offspring or the next generation is providing through their manipulated behavior, because they never experienced that, or hardly ever. At least not to the extent in which I see that the multitude of children are behaving. Now, I know that it has to do with the toxins, the poisons, and now the parasites. And now, because everything is so intently increased as far as what damage it can do, and you can thank the government for that. And to be honest with you, this is my opinion, but it's an opinion that many other people hold, because they've seen, they've witnessed, and they could recognize the injustice that's being done to each and every person, and not just in one place, but in every place, and not only in the United States, but mostly prevalent in the United States. But the other dictator type countries that hold the same views and values as it seems that this government in the United States seems to be holding and enforcing, I can't see any good come out of it. And I can't see that anybody that's being cultivated to be a productive citizen from this generation, the last generation, is going to meet the mark. They're not going to meet it at all. And then what's going to happen? Is there going to be a whole bunch of people that are just pushed off into jails or insane asylums because the medication that was prescribed by doctors with seeded agenda, wanted a whole bunch of people to be compliant, to be quiet, to inevitably be sleeping, but yet somewhat functionable? I hope and pray that these same people that are enforcing all of these disgusting things and the injustices towards the youngest generation aren't really seeking that generation to care for them in their elder years, because I can't see how that's going to work. But this can all change. We can make this happen by taking a stand, by coming together, by recognizing what we see that is totally not beneficial on any sense of the word to anyone, really. Because in the end, we all have to answer for what we've done, what we didn't do, or how we hurt people, or how we let society dictate to us how we handle the next generation. Just keep in mind that for hundreds of thousands of years, man lived, woman lived, bearing children, having families, disciplining with compassion and empathy, but being realistic and knowing that the next generation, was to be more than the generation it preceded. I thought that was the name of the game. Everybody learns just a little bit more each generation, and not maybe new material, but new material is flooding in because every piece of information we've been given up until the last 5 or 6 years has been a downright lie. That's why, certain families came in and said, here, we'll give you textbooks. We'll give everybody the rewritten version of the textbook and provide it to every school everywhere and say that this is what you can learn. And that left out a whole bunch of stuff that we should have known right from the beginning, like how our energy can affect not only us but others, or how doing harmful things to dominate or to suppress or to feel, that you have control over is also dense, low energy that wasn't supposed to manifest. But here we are. And it's not that it's one person's fault or even a group of people's fault, because when they rewrote everything, they literally erased large groups of people. They screwed with their mind. They shoved them into insane asylums. They relocated their children. They seeded them with all types of, crude-based chemicals, because that's where your vaccinations, your medications, all of that stuff all has crude oil in it. Did you know that? Every single one. And your body it's not a machine where you have, components that need metal. I mean, that it's not like your body is metal and needs components like grease or oil. Your body is biological and it's spiritual, and it has fluid, blood, and bodily secretions that keep your insides lubricated and functioning properly. There is no crude oil in that, none whatsoever, but yet that's what the government is giving us. And it's in every product. It's not just in medication. It's not just in vaccinations. They've managed to seed plastic, which should never be ingested, right? Isn't there a big warning label on every bottle that says don't ingest, don't eat, don't chew, don't gnaw? Plastic is harmful. But yet it's in our clothes, it's in our personal products, it's in everything that is manufactured or created by devilish hands that really would rather sit up and watch people suffer and struggle while they feel that, they're in a different era and that they don't have to participate in the same poisons that they're feeding everyone else. And they, say that it's a hierarchy thing. It's a humanity thing. It's not hierarchy at all. It's humanity. You either have it or you don't. You're either, wanting to interconnect and unite and uplift, or you're looking to suppress, hinder, and harm. So those are your two options. And if you sit in the middle and you watch both sides, then you might as well just hop over to the bad side, because by you not doing anything, you're not helping the cause. You're helping the disruption. So keep that in mind. And whatever side of the fence you find yourself, you are never alone. And if you're looking to achieve better, to add more luminous light and loving energy, not just to you, to your kin, to your environment, but to everybody outstretched around you, then by all means, I applaud you and say thank you. Thank you for adding to the positive momentum and the loving movement. And thank you for by making a choice and taking a side, and then moving in that direction. And if you choose to migrate in the opposite direction, I'll send you healing energy and hope that, you recognize what it is that you're doing and repent. And you have an awful lot of repenting to do if you choose not to see the debauchery that you're adding to by either staying stagnant or looking the other way. Because all you're doing is helping the other side, the low, dense energy, the side that wants to keep us all in suppression. Modern day slaves, if you will, to the workforce. And FYI, they really never wanted us to have any type of free will, and they certainly didn't want us to use our mind. So if you have free will and you know how to use your mind, and you're able to distinguish between what's real and what's not, what could be a lie or what might have truth to it, dig down deeper and find out exactly where that truth disconnects. Because there's always a glimmer of truth in every deception that we're being guided toward. It's just we have to figure out what part of that is truth, and then allow the density to fall away and only allow the positivity to rise and to shine bright. And not just for one, but for everyone. And when we shine enough bright inner light, then the dark and heavy and the dense, it will go away because it doesn't like the light. So it will fade back into whatever dense, dark position that they came from. And that would be a definite benefit for everyone. To finally be free, to finally be allowed to live with peace and harmony without having to worry about the children turning on you or the injustices affecting the mindset, the mannerisms, and the forward motion of positive, loving energy. We have this ability to put an end to it. Reach out to me, because I am certainly willing and ready to receive all of the energy and enhance it, perfect it, and send it right back out with more vibration and more doable situations that will offer solutions that will benefit everyone, everywhere. Positive and pure, that is. We've got a lot of work cut out for us because it's been a whole lot of damage that's been done. Although it's been done in a very short amount of time, the damage is never irreversible. It will just take a lot of effort in order to right the wrong. Join me. Let's turn this life back into the glory and the abundance and the forward motion toward everything positive and pure, just like it was meant to right from the start. And we uplift and we help each other. We don't hurt each other. So before you think about picking up a bottle of pills or looking to see if you can sedate a child or even an adult from acting out, pinpoint why they're acting out the way they are, and then detox. Everybody detox. Just for real, detox your body. You could do that with black oils, with black seed oil and oregano oil. I recommend that. I absolutely recommend that. And then I also recommend detoxifying from metals. As soon as I can afford to do that, that's next on my route. Because I don't like, and I've even said, the bugs invaded me and started to turn my mind. So I'm not speaking just about what I witnessed, but what I also endured. So it's up to us, each and every one, to help each other and to help our neighbor, to help our kin, and to add positive vibes for everyone everywhere. Together we can do this. I know we can. My lovely collective, no matter where you are, I am sending you love and light, clarity and wisdom, and herbal medication, because that's what we thrive on.